Good afternoon from Yummy B TV. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love as usual. Hoping your day and weekend is going to be the best it possibly can. Before I continue on the sequence of the nicest, kindest, sweetest, baddest men that I ever met in that life, special love mentions today for Ricky Edwards, Mumsy, of course. With the tragic loss of your dad, Ricky, especially in the last week or so. Mumsy as well, just having spoken to you a couple of hours prior to hear that you was in hospital was very, very hard for me to stomach, if you get what I mean. But so glad that you're up and about, Mumsy. But Ricky, my boy from way back in the day, and Auntie P, the kids, wishing you well. I'll be flying down to the West Country soon. And not just tragic news coming from down your neck of the woods as well, but a couple of other things are hurting me from that side of town as well right now, Rick. Rima, Reese, Teresa, all my love and special mentions for you as well. I'll be down there in the GIF. River Blue also. Special love to you as well, my darling. And have I forgotten anyone? Daniel Foster, as always. And Anne as well, Billy Stanley. I think he was Dave Hutchinson's Cody. Mark me if I'm right. I think they both got, there was armed robbery. Yeah. I might be right. I might not be, but I never heard from him again. He had a funny leg, Dave Hutchinson, and but special mention for you as well. I think I met Billy a couple of times as well, and along the way, very fleeting memories, if you get what I mean. But yep, the next sequence, I know, another tragic tale of what can go wrong in that life that I talk so freely and openly about, the life that I led, but many are not here today. Now, we take, like, look, all right, let's speak on the way that it used to go for me. If we're going to use me as an example now, we talk about honest days graft. When we use the term honest days graft, what it means is you go to work every day, you provide for your family, you can make enough money to pay the bills, etc. Honest days graft means that you are making money without doing anything illegally or badly, if you get what I mean. It's just a hard day's work, from the plumbers, the bricklayers, to all kind of works that men and women have to get up for every day of the week, mostly, fair to say. Live an honest day's life. But in my side of the life, a hard day's graft, really, it wasn't in the honest way. It was in a bad day. So I used to take it as occupational hazard, that what I was doing was quite right and normal, which we now know that it wasn't. So grafting, honest days graft for me in the fake life, in the way that I've led my life, means to go out stealing every day and thinking you're clever about it, and how much are we going to earn today at the expense of others in that way. And the honest days, man, of a man who goes out there. So we know what grafting really means is putting in a day's shift. But on the bad side of the coin, as I've explained already. So my mate would pick me up in his car, say. So I jump in all excited and everything back in the day, sit in the passenger seat, put the belt on like I was ready for work, push it in. He goes, "Where we going, Yummy?" Right, boom, left, right, wherever. We go. And sometimes you're out there 40 minutes, an hour, quickly. The first thing you try by way of stealing, it goes really, really well. And you've got the money, the spoils from your criminal activity, and it's a quick one without any risk involved, apparently. So, you haven't been interrupted during the crime. You haven't been, there hasn't been no close calls with the police, a nearby neighbor, witness. Nobody has seen absolutely nothing, apparently. And you're out there, and straight away you're back home celebrating with ill-gotten gains. That's the best way to describe it as far as I'm concerned. But there are other days as well where you are out there for hours on end and your energy is just not the same, and then it gets to 4 or 5. Just saying, if you get up in the morning and you say do a left and you knock on a door, or you try something and you're not quite with it that way, for it doesn't feel like the day before where you was out there 40 minutes, and then this time now you're out in 9 hours and you haven't earned a penny. So the options open to grafting in a bad sense all day and every day is not going to be the same. And it can also, one of the options, because we speak about quick money on a good day, not enough money on a bad day, prison on a bad day, on a terrible day. So what gets worse? Losing your life in the midst of apparently, allegedly, during a crime, right? So that's that. So we know, or I know in history, even shoplifters. I remember there was an old tragic tale of in the 80s, I think it was, while I was in Aylesbury, where a man, he was shoplifting in Woolworths and ends up picking up a poker on the side of a till, basically stealing 10 or 15 quid's worth of gear out of the shop, and it ends up with somebody losing their life. So you don't have to be a murderer by trade, and you don't have to be an armed robber with a gun. You don't have to have pitched battles every day, or every time you set out every day on that bad way of grafting. You are still open to the risk that there could be loss of life, not just for the victims that you think that you're perpetrating that day, but also for you as well. So shoplifting, burgling, robbing, all the things that go with everything with that life, you can possibly pay the ultimate price of losing your life as well. We knew the famous tale when I first got arrested when I was younger, and the victim of the house tied the telephone wires round my neck. Me personally now, as a straight going man, as not involved in criminal activity, I would have to say that you're in your own right to protect your own property. So we put ourselves at risk from losing our life, especially if guns are involved, knives are involved, or, the smallest things, for 10 pence to a pound, it can still go wrong when you left your house that morning. The worstest case scenario of someone dying is the absolute worstest case scenario. If you're not a murderer by trade, if you get what I mean, could be that you could end up killing somebody whilst burgling, shoplifting, robbing, whatever, or you yourself might be getting killed. So this story, sorry, 1 second. This story, as well as being a special tribute to one of my quietest, nicest, loyalist, honestest, not cutest, sweet boyish, because Mark Nunes was light-skinned, I used to call him Reds. First time I ever met him, he said to me, "Don't call me Reds." I said, "Why though? I heard someone else calling you that." And then he said to me, "You never heard when I reprimanded him and told him not to, Yammy?" And I said, "Yeah." Spotted him, blah, blah, blah. I've got like a house on fire because everything I saw from Mark Nunes would have to go on in that life. I would have to put him down as probably one of the nicest, greatest, baddest in that life, if you get what I mean. If we go on the rule book and the moral codes and all that kind of stuff that go together, and trust and reliable in that life as well. But I saw him as another human being as well, apart from the crimes and that kind of stuff. I saw him as a nice, quiet, humble, funny geezer. I never ever saw him get angry. Like, I'd never see him bully anyone. He was quite some size as well, Mark. Wasn't the smallest man, but maybe not the biggest either. But I just never heard him mention the word violence ever. So the tragic tale, again, of during crimes that we do or did in that life, with this tragic tale, also, there are two lots of life in Andrew Markington as well, who was with him that day. The only thing I can't get my head around is that for all the years I knew Mark, I'd never known him to have a gun. So that bit there's a bit of confusion there for me, and amongst other things as well, that he spent his whole life robbing, rephrase that, not used his whole life robbing, got involved in crime, and set about robbing security vans, which he pleaded guilty to a couple of times, took his prison time like a gentleman, like he was. He knew the wrongs and rights that can go with that life and that game, and he accepted it. Knew that he was wrong and just said, "Well, it's all right. I've got money to go out, with that life," for whatever way he was thinking. And I'm not him. All I can do is give you what I thought about him, and I can only go by what I saw. As well as this, I'm talking about another man as well, and isn't it rightly so that they're both from Brixton as well, both real Brixtonites, if you get what I mean. Mark Nunes, Jason Willis. a combination of two types of different characters, but both well known in the criminal circuit, and in my opinion, respected by almost everyone. Jason Willis as well, tragically, has died in recent times, the last few years as well. How that could have possibly taken place in a block of some kind in a prison institution by way of suicide has left me wondering, amongst other people as well, thinking how, if you know someone that well, but then it is fair to say that I've met a few as well that I thought the same about, and they commit suicide or allegedly did, where I thought there was absolutely no chance that this person would ever get, even if he got a bad feeling or he was tormented by something of some kind, would pay the ultimate price by hanging himself or committing suicide of some kind in whatever way, if you get what I mean. But Mark Nunes first. So, firstly, I met you, Mark. Rest in peace, my boy. Special love to Lisa as well, your wife at that time. Tragically, Mark. From the first time I saw you, I think it was the local catties. Can't remember, but I've met you once or twice before along the way. I think, Mark, without having spoken to you properly now, some of you will know that I have my son's mother's from Brixton, and I knew some sides of Mark's family as well as Jason's as well. What do they both have in common? Rest in peace. They both died at the hands of that life in some kind of way, if you get what I mean, because it's institutionally related to, if I could put it as one example. But yep, the first time I met him, allegedly, I was watching from a distance in Belmarsh. After seeing him a couple of times along the years without having much conversation with him. And Mark is in the dinner queue. Don't take my word for this, because you know I can talk a lot of shit sometimes. But crowded evening, Belmarsh, tea time. You get the tea boy, everything lined up round there, and you walk round with your silver tray. I think it was still silver trays in the 90s in Belmarsh. A couple of other people were there. Oh, in the 90s. Oh, it probably possibly was as well. And I was looking from your lineup this way, standing in the queue. In my eyes are on Mark for one reason or another, because I need to talk to him before the doors are banged up, and I'm in a hurry to see him, if you get what I mean. So he's but I can see the PO, one of those old general army type prison officers. He's like that with his hat, talking to Mark in his face like that. And then I just saw a head come back and go bang. And I was shocked, to say the least. And what I was more shocked about is that I'd never seen a sign of violence from Mark before. And not only that, I didn't hear an alarm bell being pressed. So I was thinking to myself, hold on, Yami, what? You can headbutt a governor? Because throughout all my experiences, I've probably seen it a couple of times before, but it's not a regular occurrence that you can just punch a prison officer in the mouth. I've done it myself, got wrapped up, got battered, or, mind you, yeah, I have done it, and no harm come to me as well, but that's in later years. We're talking about, I think we're talking about 2000-y kind of thing here, before I got the 13 years in Belmarsh. And to see him headbutt someone and then not press the alarm, just walking back to his cell, then told me that I now have more information on my mate Mark, is that they saw him as a threat of some kind, because unless you're if they don't jump on you, there's a reason why. Trust me, many men, I won't give the answers in this video today, but they walked him up to his cell. He's gone back up to his cell and banged up. So without getting my tea, I've zoomed up there for one reason or another, gone to his door. Yes, yeah, right? So we really kind of got talking just about then properly, if I would being honest, from being hello, boom, yeah, do you know him, over the years, this time here now, the conversation is up, but there was other things while I was what I wanted to talk to him about as well during that time. So we was on Yami B bullshit as well, looking for things as usual during that life. So I was surprised, but I saw it, so I ticked that off in my notebook, and I said to myself, wow. Okay, he doesn't spit it, he doesn't talk violence, he doesn't talk any kind of crud or grime or whatever way you want to put it at all. Just a lovely, lovely, lovely man, right? So after that, we became really pally. Me and Mark and done a few things together. I speak to Lisa quite regularly. Love you, Lisa, like I said already. And then obviously, yeah, we ended up getting sentenced. So during that time, Mark's pleaded guilty or found guilty, can't remember rightly. So, of security van robberies with no weapons, right? So that was it. So he lived that life like I lived that life in the same way that I used to put trust in that life with burglaries and robberies and quick financial gain and drugs or whatever way you want it for. He lived that life, admittedly so, with it. So on hearing, so I'm in Long Lartin, I think, during this time, and I'm with somebody, and the papers have come up, and I'm reading this story about two men, Andrew Markington as well, rest in peace as well, met him twice, too, where both of them have been observated on robberies, being trailed, don't know they're being trailed, apparently, allegedly, and go on the robbery, freeze while a van's pulling up, allegedly, and Mark's been shot, tragically. Now, they say he had a gun. I say I never knew him to ever really use guns or anything like that on robberies. Apparently, Andrew Markington died shortly, within a minute or seconds during that time that Mark shot. So I don't know all the ins and outs of it, and it's not my business to go into it. All I can tell you is what I know about him, and he was a living legend in that life. You remember the story that I told you about one day when I was on the visits, and I done something that I shouldn't have by putting it where the sun don't shine, and then they all rushing me and swept my feet from under me, and I was on the floor. One of the first faces I see coming through the visit, when you're waiting for visits in Belmarsh, there's a separate room, and then there's the room where you get rubbed down there, and then you walk through that door and the desk there, and then they tick you off for your visit. So that door was opened by accident, the ones that are waiting to go through into the next room. So they were trying to pull me this way, but one of the first faces I saw, not ashamed to say now, don't see the risk in it at all, amongst others as well, Pat, Louis, Dwayne, Arthur Penny, everybody was there that day, and Mark was one of the first faces. They dragged me back into the room, or trying to drag me back into the room by way of fighting. Sorry to have all got you into trouble. I salute you, Mark, for your loyalty and the way that you looked out for me that day, because you never even went out there and got your visit, if you get what I mean. And then the other one in the recess with the two geezers that day, I was expecting to be helping you, Mark, that day. Rest in peace, my boy. But it didn't seem that you needed me that day. A headbutt and a punch for both of them wasn't too bad doing in that life, if you get what I mean, Mark. That's why I always wanted was the weapons. So we won't go into that today anyway. But that life again, do you see? Observating, going out there, grafting, good day, bad day, terrible day, ultimate day, nobody left. No. Your wife, your missus, your mum, your dad, your uncle, everybody's expecting you home to be joyful and happy or whatever, or whether they know whether you're involved in a life of crime or whether you ain't. You think about it logically. Everybody's expecting you to come back. Since I've been out the last 19 months, every day I wake up, somebody was here just like that and gone tomorrow. So I know how most of you have suffered along the years that I've missed out on, if you get what I mean, by being holed up in there, away from all the emotional hurt and turmoil, if I can put it in that way, if you get what I mean. So I'm not facing those things directly that you all have now, and now I take my hat off to you all, because it's very, very sad that some of us even draw the short straw. Seems like all the time that normally you get 2-3 pieces of bad luck and one bit of good luck, or good news, shall we say. But for some, it's not as good as that, the ratios and percentages. But anyway, Jason Willis as well, another tragic tale. Allegedly suicide down the block, hanged himself in one prison or another. I know the prison, and we were all saying it can't happen. Why would Jason? He's just not made that way. I remember in the old days in Wayland when I first met Jason Willis, now rest in peace, and his family sent special love as well there. When my first meeting with him in Wayland, he pulled out a pair of scissors quickly. and stab somebody, sadly twice, 3 times, with quick in quick succession. So he was a man who was about that life, if you get what I mean. What a tremendous character as well. Just like Mark, he had that little bit extra, always accepted as well. Another man who always, when he got nicked, and yep, it's me or whatever, I'll do my bit. And when he gets to jail, still runs around. He used to be one of my favourite grafting partners as well, Jason Willis, because he was very, very similar to me, inside and outside as well. See some serious things. Was a great grafting partner in that life. Salute you too, Jason. Still trying to come to terms with how it could be possible that you could have hanged yourself, but what do I know? Hey, we don't believe that it's in. We talked about some of those other big names in the past where something that might have happened that we all don't know about. You can never really tell what's affecting them, but I'm very, very seriously worried about there with Jason. Again, I would have put my mortgage on him not being able to handle whatever's going through your mind or whatever to lead you to such a sad state, because that is the ultimate. When you take your own life, you must be really going through a very, very sad moment. Is the best way to the only way that I could describe it possible as well. But no, sad subjects. Again, we talk about that life, the things that go with it. Why are there so many that I grew with that are not here today? And for some natural causes, I missed out on early deaths. Men that rolled with me in that life from before I started my jail journey, they're not around. But also many men my age that were on the same path for the same amount of time, cut short again through the things that can take place during any time when you're doing wrong things. I'll be up shortly with an educational video as well, sending loads of love.